Hello, and welcome to the latest in my videos about Qigong and mindfulness. The eagle-eyed among you will probably immediately notice that I'm not broadcasting from the place I normally do. I used to broadcast from downstairs in my living room. I've now been able to get things set up so that I can broadcast from upstairs in a room which is designed for readings, meditation, treatments. Of course, can be kept nice and calm and keep the cats out and things like that. It can be quite important to have a space where you can actually have the right kind of atmosphere to do your daily Qigong and or meditation practice. Somewhere where you won't be disturbed is obviously very important. And although you can't see or smell this, I've actually got a candle burning and I've got some nice lavender incense burning. Under normal circumstances, I would also have some nice relaxing music playing, but there are actually major legal issues involved with broadcasting music over the internet. So I never have used music in these broadcasts. However, feel free whenever you're doing it. If you want to have some nice relaxing music on in the background where you are, that's absolutely fine. So today what I want to do is revisit seated Qigong, because one of the big advantages of what I teach is that it doesn't need you to be massively physically fit, and as a number of you will know, I actually teach Qigong to people with cerebral palsy, many of whom are in wheelchairs and have extremely limited movement. However, assuming that you are normally able, I'd just like to go over the ideal position for you to do seated Qigong in. You need to be on a chair or stool. You don't want to have your arms constricted by the arms of the chair. So a dining chair without arms is ideal. An ideal sitting position is with your hips at 90 degrees and with your knees also at 90 degrees. Now I'm sitting on my therapy stool, which is set up for me to sit like this. If you can't quite haven't got a chair where you can sit on it naturally in that position, then just find a combination of cushions and things that will enable you to get in the best possible position. As ever with Qigong, yes, there is a kind of a perfect way for you to aim to do the moves, but I will repeat the thing I often say, it's not about doing it perfectly, it's about doing it perfectly for you. So, when you've got yourself seated, there are a number of physical things which are still the same between both seated and standing Qigong. That is your back as straight as it can be, your neck as straight as it can be, and your chin parallel with the floor. Also very important is engage these core muscles, because especially when you have to sit a lot for whatever physical reason. Back in the days when we all used to do an awful lot more manual work, we naturally got into the habit of engaging these core muscles, and that's where most of our strength comes from. Of course, these days we don't do that. These muscles have got very flabby, and we're not in the habit of engaging them. But practicing engaging them when you're doing Qigong, whether seated or standing, can be a huge, huge benefit to you. It can certainly help protect against back problems. So, but as I always say, engaging those core muscles is something that you do need to practice if you're not used to doing it. What I will say is that if you do get in the habit of practicing it, it does become much more habitual, as does standing in the right posture. Okay, so whether you're seated or standing, get yourself into good posture. So I'm demonstrating it seated, but I will just remind you that if you're standing, you want your feet about a hip width apart, and when you're seated, you actually want to have your feet still about a hip width apart. You certainly don't want your legs crossed or splayed out. Excuse me. So feet about a hip width apart. If you're standing, knees slightly bent. If you're sitting, you want hips and knees at about a right angle. Back nice and straight. Neck nice and straight. Arms hanging down by your side. And just for a moment, close your eyes and just focus on your breathing. As you breathe, maybe try to tune in to how your body feels. And tune into how your mind feels. And just get some idea of what you need from this session that's for your health and well-being. And you will all want different things. So, when you're ready, open your eyes. And then, with your next in-breath, just slowly let your arms float up in front of you with the palms down. And then as you breathe out, just slowly let them float back down. Find your own breath and your own rhythm. Only move your arms as far as you can easily manage in one gentle in-breath. And don't do anything that causes you any pain or discomfort. If you can't quite achieve physically what you would like to, or do what I'm doing exactly, that doesn't matter. Just do what's comfortable and what works for you. And as you breathe in, let your arms float up in front of you. And as you breathe out, just let your hands slowly sink back down all the way to the bottom. And then the last time for this move, as you breathe out, just let your hands relax all the way down. Maybe you let your hands relax into your lap rather than by your side, if that's what's comfortable for you. But at the end, just relax and let go, while still keeping your nice posture with a nice straight back. Okay, so the next move is all about the chest, and if you're seated, it is actually helpful, I think, to start with your hands on your lap for this move. In fact, what I'm going to do is suggest that you bring your hands up into this position in front of your chest. And as you breathe in, just allow your arms to spread out. And as you breathe in, bring your hands back in together so the fingers are pointing to each other. And then just let your hands sink down onto your lap. Breathe in, your hands float up and out. And as you breathe out, your hands just relax back in and then back down. As you breathe in, try to imagine your chest and lungs really expanding. As you breathe out, just feel everything just relax. Maybe as you breathe in, you can imagine you breathe in a good and positive energy from the room around you. And as you breathe out, you can imagine yourself breathing out any stress or tension like grey smoke. So breathe in, your arms float out and spread out wide. And as you breathe out, just let your hands float back in and back down. And then the last time for this move. As you breathe out, just relax and let go. Okay, so the next move is painting rainbows. And as you breathe in, I want you to bring your hands up to form an arch. However high you can easily get them. I would normally get my hands higher, but I've realised the camera won't catch them. So, as you breathe out, let one hand slowly float down. You can turn your head to look at your palm as you do that. And as you breathe in, bring the hand back up. And then do the same on the other side. Don't lean over. Just let the hand drift down and let your eyes follow your palm. And you can easily see that as you move your hands through the air, you're painting a rainbow. Now if you're standing, you may remember that there's an instruction to dip the opposite knee as you move the arm. If you're sitting, you can replicate that by slightly raising the heel on the side where your arm is dipping down, but don't worry too much about that. But do try to focus on keeping your core muscles engaged during this move. Breathe out, and one hand just slowly floats down. As you breathe in, comes up to form the arch again, and the last time for this move. Breathe in, bring your hand back up, and as you breathe out, turn your hands out and let your hands sweep down all the way by your side. As you breathe in, bring them up again. You may find it helpful when you're sitting, just take your hands down to your lap. Breathe in, let your arms float up. Breathe out, sweep them down by your side, and I want you to imagine that you're sweeping away any clouds that surround you. Breathe in, your arms rise up. Breathe out, just let your hands sweep down by your side, pushing away the clouds. And then the last time for this move, breathe out, let your hands sweep down. At the bottom, just relax and let go. And you can either let your hands float down by the side, or if you're seated, just let them float into your lap. Now the next move is a very good one to make sure you engage your core muscles, and in many ways this is actually a lot easier when you're seated, because you can't actually turn your hips very easy when you're seated. I'm on my therapy stool, which is designed to turn, so this isn't actually ideal for me. But as you breathe in, bring your hands up into position in front of you with your palms up. As you breathe out, turn from the waist, let that turn, send one hand out to one side, follow it with your eyes if you wish. As you breathe in, turn the hand over, turn back to face the front and bring the hand into the centre. And do the same on the other side. And you can imagine that you're collecting in energy from the room for your own purposes. In fact, as you breathe in and bring the hand in, you can imagine that you're breathing in a good and positive energy from the room. Breathe out, take one hand out to one side, and you breathe in, turn back to the front and bring the hand in. And then the last time for this move, breathe in, bring the hand back into the centre, and then just relax and let go. And just let your hands float down into your lap. And then we're ready to balance the chin. So I want you to imagine that you've got a spinning ball of energy here on your lap, or if you're standing just in front of your abdomen. And you're now going to smooth around the outside of that ball. So as you breathe in, bring your hands around the outside of the ball, over the top. And as you breathe out, just let your hands sink down. Be careful with this move, take your hands no higher than your heart. So breathe in, smooth around the outside of the ball, breathe out, and just let your hands sink down. And just imagine that ball of energy getting smoother and smoother, maybe getting smaller and smaller as you gradually get that energy back centered where it needs to be in your body. And breathe in, take your hand up and over the top, breathe out and let your hands float down. And then the last time for this move, and then just for a moment, I want you to sit or stand really, really still and quiet. And just let everything settle. Maybe imagine all your energy settling back into your body to where it's needed for you to call on it, which is just about in the area of your belly button. And then when you're ready, I want you to find your normal place to sit or lie, ready for the mindfulness meditation. Take a moment to get yourself settled. As ever, the meditation will begin with the sound of the singing bowl and end with the sound of the singing bowl. I'd like to invite you now just to listen to the sound of the singing bowl, and then to try and follow the sound as it fades away. Follow the sound of the bowl and try to become aware of that moment when the sound fades into nothing. Then I'd like you to become very aware of where you are in the chair or lying on the bed or wherever you're sitting or lying. I want you to become very aware of your body and where it's supported by the chair. Focus on where the chair or bed touches your body. Really be aware of the support that it gives you. Relax into it a little bit more. Maybe allow yourself to imagine that gravity is pulling you just a little further down into the bed or chair. And as that happens, let your shoulders relax a little more. Make sure your hands are relaxed. And just make sure that you are completely comfortable. Then I'd like you to bring your attention to your breath. Focus your mind on every in-breath and every out-breath. Just notice what you feel about every breath. And it's quite likely that when you do this, you're going to suddenly realize that your mind has wandered away. Maybe part of it got bored. Maybe part of it was worrying about something. Maybe there's part of it that even feels it's rather silly to be doing something like this. And you know what? That's perfectly natural. Minds do that. But when that happens, don't start thinking, oh, I failed at this. Actually, by noticing that your mind has wandered off, you've succeeded. And every time your mind wanders off, every time you notice, you're succeeding in being mindful. And every time you keep your focus on your breath, you are succeeding in being mindful. And it doesn't matter how many times you have to do it, but every time you find that your mind has wandered off, just acknowledge that it's wandered off. Congratulate yourself for noticing what your mind is doing. And then gently lead your mind back to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath. What do you notice about each breath? Are you aware of movement of air? Are you aware of movement of muscles? Maybe muscles in your chest or in your tummy. Maybe you can try and follow the passage of air all the way down into your lungs and all the way out again. Maybe you don't really notice anything like that. Well, do you know that's okay? Just accept what you're noticing. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to that moment of stillness when there is no movement. That moment of stillness that happens as your in-breath becomes an out-breath, and your out-breath becomes an in-breath. Just let your mind become aware of that still, calm moment. moment that happens hundreds and hundreds of times every day. Don't hold your breath. Just be aware of that momentary pause and the stillness that happens as a result. And maybe you could try to imagine that every time that pause happens, a tiny, tiny drop of stillness is put into a special place inside you to call on when you need it. Now we all have a place deep inside us where we can feel calm, peaceful, still, confident, happy. We all have a secret place where we keep those feelings hidden so we can call on them when we need them. I'd like you to find that place now. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine that you breathe down deep into that place. And as you breathe out, your breath carries with it the feeling that you need most right in this moment. And as you breathe, I want you to imagine that that feeling is going to be carried round the whole of your body. So first of all, it gets carried down into your toes. And then when your toes are full, it gets carried into your feet, filling the whole of your feet, top, the bottom, the sides, all the way back to your heels and ankles. And then that feeling starts to rise up through your ankles and then rise up through your legs and your shins and your calves, all the way up to your knees. And then it rises through your knees and goes along your thighs, all the way to your hips and buttocks. As you continue to breathe quite normally, imagine that feeling being carried through your hips into your torso, and rising up through your torso, filling your abdomen, your chest, your back and your sides, all the way up to your shoulders. Then I want you to imagine that feeling tumbling down your arms, going to your fingertips, and filling your fingers, filling your hands, going through your wrists, and all the way along your arms, through your elbows, and back to your shoulders again. And then imagine that feeling being breathed up through your neck into your head and face, so that every part of your body is filled with that good feeling that you need right now in this moment. And just for a moment, be aware of the whole of your body filled with that feeling. And as you're aware of that feeling, just for a moment, think about what may lie ahead during the day. And just imagine yourself coping effortlessly with everything that may happen. Because you have the feeling that you need. Then bring your mind back to focusing on your breath. And then slowly let your mind and your attention spread out And maybe you can become aware of the touch of clothes on your skin, or maybe become aware again of where your body is supported by the bed or the chair. Once again, become aware of where your body touches the bed or chair. Then slowly let your awareness widen so that you become more aware of the room. Become aware of sounds outside and inside the room. And then slowly, gradually bring yourself back to normal awareness, opening your eyes if you've had them shut during this exercise. But as you do, keep in the front of your mind the intention that you can take this good feeling with you through the rest of the day. I hope you found that interesting and enjoyable. Once again, my apologies for this being delayed today. Unfortunately, to do it yesterday, I would have had quite a rush. And the one thing I don't like to do when I'm doing this is to feel that I'm rushed, because that doesn't help me and it certainly doesn't help you. So normal service will be resumed next week, when it will be on again on Saturday. As ever, if you enjoy these videos, that's absolutely wonderful. If you would like to consider sponsoring me, then please check out my Patreon page. All sponsors, as well as getting this free half-hour video, will have access to a longer weekly video where I can maybe do different things, cover more things in greater detail. So do please check out my Patreon page. And apart from that, I hope you have a good Sunday, and I will hope to see you next week.